Okay, good morning. We're going to talk today about small satellite micropropulsion. And first, I want to present our team. I'm Michael Kedar. I'm professor at School of Engineering here at George Washington University. With us on a business trip in Asia, Shamudra Haq, who is a PhD student in aerospace engineering. So he is on Skype. George Till is a master's student in aerospace engineering, and Cameron Parvini is undergraduate senior student. And our business advisor is Dr. Randy Graves. He's an audience. Everyone knows that it takes enormous force, in fact, it's megatons, to bring satellite to space from Earth. But what do you do when you're already in space? In particular, if you're dealing with small satellite like that, how you control its position in space? And this is what we're going to present to you today, is new disruptive enabling technology that can control small satellite in space, technology that has been validated through a number of years of R&D. The market for that technology was validated through extensive customer interviews, and we will show you also some samples of letter of intent. I will try to show you that also there is no direct competition, and we are talking about $2 billion market. When we talk about satellite propulsion, in particular small satellite like that, the interest is in having very high efficiently propulsion, very low weight, and low system cost. And the answer is electric propulsion, not traditional combustion-based propulsion, what people used to, but electrical propulsion. And the idea of using electrical propulsion is old, but it took off really recently. A few years ago, Boeing announced all-electric satellite, and other company actually forwarded the suit. And in fact, we hosted here in GW in October international conference on electric propulsion. It has record number of attendees, over 450 people came because there is this huge excitement about using the electric propulsion. There is another trend in satellite community, which is moving to this small satellite from large satellites, right? However, there is a problem that if you want to do something useful with small satellite, you need propulsion to control position of the satellite or to change orbit of the satellite. But there is no existing technology that can be easily scaled down to this kind of size. And electric propulsion has to be obviously low cost, because we are talking about something like maybe $100,000 cost for this small satellite. Should be reliable, should be power efficient, scalable and modular, should be play and plug technology. And this is our solution. This is a small thruster that we developed in my lab that able to control this kind of satellite in space and do other useful mission, as we explained to you. So this thruster has very high efficient. It has extended lifetime to several years, as opposed to few months that all these satellites now live in space. It has very small volume. It can fit in this small one-unit satellite. Power efficient, low operation voltage. It's a green technology. It doesn't have any combustion exhaust, and it's also zero satellite contamination. And there are, we have to kind of bring you to the field. And there are two types of electric propulsion that we can characterize by ion propulsion, different sort of ion propulsion, which typically require high power, not easily to scale down to this kind of satellite. On the other hand, there is a pulse plasma thruster, which is small, easy to operate, but it suffers from very significant contamination due by products. And there are a number of companies that try to develop these technologies, but there is no really direct competition for the kind of product that we're presenting here. And at this point, I'm turning the stage to George, who will talk about some application of our technology.
Hello, everybody. So as Dr. Kedar mentioned, our initial market is going to be cube satellites. And currently, cube satellites are deployed off of the International Space Station out of P-pods. So these pods are deployed in low Earth orbit, which can cause a few problems. Drag is one of the biggest problems. So how do you counteract drag? You need some kind of a propulsion force that projects you forward. However, again, the contamination issue with the ISS, you don't want the astronauts having any kind of a problem. You don't want the outside of the International Space Station to get any sort of contamination. So our propulsion force handles that issue. So with this top right screen, you can see is a simple orbital transfer of altitude, constant propulsion to get yourself from low Earth orbit out to, say, geosynchronous or to the moon and beyond. An orbital maneuver, if a university buys one of these satellites and they have a great camera on it, what they can do is out of the ISS, which is roughly around the equator, you can change your inclination and work your way towards the polar ice caps or something if you want to work with another professor that wants to do studies elsewhere. Station keeping is a really big issue. Constantly you need to adjust your orbits, and you adjust your speeds, your altitudes, which is a great application that our thruster can do. Deorbiting. Right now it's kind of an international hot topic of garbage up in space. People know about it, but we don't necessarily have an answer for it. And it's not too big of an issue now, but decades later, if no one does anything, it probably will be. So the current issue, or the current ideas, what they do is they park them in a garbage orbit, and you just kind of ignore that. Or they let them float out there. So our thruster, if you put it in the front, can slow your trajectory down, and you can just burn up in the atmosphere, especially with these small packages. Now, down here in the bottom right, you can see a cluster. A lot of research is going into it. A lot of money is going into getting multiple satellites in a cluster, an array, flying in formation. Each one of these satellites needs 4+ thrusters to get this to work. And all the simulations I've seen have been 4 or more satellites flying in formation. And then again, on the last is deep space missions. The farther out you go, the less sunlight you get, the less power you're going to have available for you to use. Our system is low power and quite efficient, and it lasts a very long time. And I'm going to pass this off to Samudra, who's in the Skype call.
Yes, thank you very much, George, and good morning, GW community and everybody from Dhaka, where it's about 95 degrees or so in the evening. And I'm on one of the stops of my business trip to Asia, where I'm making an effort for MPNL to reach out to leading institutions in order to introduce them to our micropropulsion research products. Last fall, we started the process of market validation of our technologies by exhibiting working prototypes of our USU, working prototypes at the USU Small Set exhibition. In the next phase, we participated in an NSF process whereby we validated the market, and we actually took advantage of the program to assist scientists and engineers extend laboratory research projects into the commercial world. Through a rigorous peer-reviewed boot camp, we conducted 50 person-to-person and in-depth phone interviews with key industry executives and engaged what are the pain points and where our micropropulsion technology might have a fit or might not. And we actually developed a full business model canvas, and we were able to identify key value propositions, customer segments, and who are the typical kingmakers for our target market. As our interviews were not limited just to the US, we gathered a ton of information on key market players, regulators, potential future competitors, and customer targets on a global basis. And if I can ask the presenter to switch to the next slide, please. We actually discovered a vibrant ecosystem of companies serving small spacecraft users. The chart I'm showing to you is actually very complicated because the aerospace industry has been diversifying since 1991. And we've noticed since 2012 the increase in the number of next-generation small space companies producing functional small orbital vehicles and who are asking for a small-scale propulsion solution. We are confident that we have actually both the prototypes and the technology in hand to provide their needs right now. In the next slide, I'd like to suggest that electric propulsion systems are very well known to be scalable and adaptable to a variety of missions. And it is our intention to diversify our product range in the future to serve the large spacecraft market. Why? Because there is a lot of new growth in this area, led by large aerospace companies such as Boeing, Lockheed Martin, Thales, Space Systems, Loral, or the company that succeeded it. And even Orbital has now joined the electric propulsion bandwagon for the satellite bus. So we consider the long-term business opportunities for our technology very bright. But initially, and I would like to suggest we switch to the next slide, in the initial phases of our business plan, we want to focus on the emerging small satellite industry as a target market, which is an estimated $2 billion annual served market, inclusive of global sales and support opportunities, that span about 2 years on average for each order. It is our estimate that we will have the opportunity to capture $1+ billion of sales, representing those users who need to include propulsion in their small spacecraft in order for them to complete their missions. I'm happy to say that the MPNL SSM team has received well-placed inquiries from users in the US and many international countries due to pre-startup industry outreach and interview activities. And the initial inquiries have been of substantial commercial sizes. And I'm happy to report that we have the invitation to fly our prototypes on our first on-orbit mission, currently in development by 2015 early on. And with regard to the growth rate of the current small satellite industry, which is about 10%, at the moment, since there are no other affordable or practical small propulsion systems available for these types of spacecraft, we have the opportunity today to change the trajectory of the small satellite industry in a significant manner and increase its growth rate. And as an early market mover, if we start now, we will have less barriers to entry and more profit opportunities. That we are confident of. My colleague Cameron and I have analyzed the business fundamentals for our team and our business plan. And I would like to yield the podium to him remotely, if you allow me to, Cameron, at this time. So Cameron, please take it away.
Okay, sure. Hello, everyone. Good afternoon. So turning ourselves inwards, looking at the internal financials of the company, there are just a couple quick slides here that we'd like to talk about. A couple general assumptions. First of all, we're estimating a 20% cost of production per propulsion solution, which is giving us a pretty high gross margin in creating the systems. Secondly, we're going to have a direct sales setup and distribution managed by the small spacecraft team with the technical know-how and the contacts in the industry to be able to sell effectively. Furthermore, looking at our break-even analysis, moving through 2014 and into 2015, you can see that we have a break-even point about after 14 to 15 months. That is based on the assumption that we will be moving from making 1 system per month, moving up to 2, and ramping up production to 4 throughout that first year per month per propulsion solution. So that will give us a 14, 15-month average, which is about what we're looking at. In summary, as far as the chain of command is concerned within the company, we have a CEO, a CTO, a senior engineer who will manage both the engineers and the technicians on the team, as well as several administrators to deal with paperwork and things of that nature.
Okay, just to recap, we validated technology that we just presented to you through over the 5 years of research and development supported by government and industry. We have 3 patents related to this technology, and we are happy to be part of NASA program, NASA Ames program, to fly one of these satellites and use our propulsion system. And this is called PhoneSat, that controlled by smartphone as a computer on the satellite. So next generation of smartphone will be using our propulsion technology. And in terms of customer validation, this is one of the letter of intent that showing that they're ready to buy from us 1,000 of propulsion system over 4 years. So where we are, we developed and validated enabling technology for small satellite market. The market itself has been validated. The technology itself compared to possibilities existing now is green by its nature because it doesn't have combustion byproduct. We're preparing for initial funding investment of about $350K. We hope we are collecting also some investment from our team. And ladies and gentlemen, at this moment, we all can make a difference in small satellite market by introducing this enabling technology. We open up and reshape the entire market of small satellites, which is estimated just a few months ago to be in 2019 of about $2 billion market. And this can help our scientific exploration effort. It can help our academic efforts. It can help our defense. And with your help, we actually will be able to build first flight prototype with flight qualified components, test it, and do further marketing of this product. Thank you very much.
I'll get started on a question. This is something that fascinates me and interests me, and I was very happy towards the end when you gave us kind of your status on the intellectual property piece. Tell us a little bit about, all three patents are pending. Tell me a little bit about their confidence level in that respect. And then generally tell me a little bit more, if you can, about the MPNL OXMP program in which you were able to get so much kind of inbound interest from other countries, I noticed on the slide. So tell me a little bit about your confidence in the patents pending coming through, and then a little bit about that program and how you were able to kind of get out to the folks so quickly and get so much inbound interest.
Yeah, so we have 3 patents related to this technology. The first one, the parent patent, was submitted about 3 years ago. We expect to be issued very soon because we had some interaction recently with patent office on that. And 2 follow-up patents related to derivative of this technology that on different stages. The latest one was submitted just last year. Okay. So in terms of our new outreach program, I will probably let Shamudra to talk about this. That was his initiative. But basically, we invite industry, we invite universities to participate in various programs where they can use our thruster in-flight experiments to validate further our technology. This is in addition to 2 flight programs that we currently have, one with NASA. Shamudra, do you want to just add a few minutes of...
Yes, if I may, I hope you can hear me clearly, but I apologize for presenting remotely. But in the video that I am sending you right now, in the catalog that you have, which I believe the team circulated, on the back side of it, there is a mention of a Onorbit micropropulsion experiment program, which is a follow-on brochure which we produced at the Micropropulsion Nanotechnology Lab, and we actually announced it at the IEEE Aerospace 2014 conference I did. And as a host of a particular panel meeting of the IEEE AESS, I took the opportunity to approach the systems integration engineering community to help me in expanding the word that we have devices and that we actually would like to validate their concept and improve their technology readiness level by making sure that other people had access to the technology. They tested it for us because of their interest in using it in a future mission, and gave us some of the reliability and performance data that we needed, because as an industrial concept, we have to produce more of these units for us to increase the yield and improve the reliability. And I took that opportunity and I got feedback from the conference chairs and the session chairs, and I eventually, with Dr. Kaidar's permission and the GW University support, I wrote up a program called a programmatic announcement called Onorbit Micropropulsion Experiment Program, which got wide circulation to many locations in the world via mailing list of serious users who said, have you heard of this and have you heard of that? And we actually got inquiries from as far away as Brazil, India, Australia, South Korea, France, UK, some of the EU, established players in EU. And Canada, of course, and then also some parts of the Asia Pacific. And I actually took advantage of this business trip to talk to some of them in Singapore. And apparently they were actually welcoming the opportunity to get early technology in their hands so that they can evaluate it and then use it and ultimately plan for real missions, significant missions, deep space missions, interplanetary missions with this technology. I'd like to give it back to the floor, please.
I have a question. You spoke about this propulsion, it lasts a long time compared to other types. It's very durable. I mean, how long is long and what's its useful life?
Yeah, so this thruster, if you operate constantly with 1 Hz repetition rate, can last for 1 year. So currently, if you launch this kind of satellite in free fall, it will perform for about months to 2 months. So we extend by order of magnitude roughly lifetime with just a single unit.
Okay, thank you.
What kind of cost savings, sorry, does that represent to, relative to the cost to put that in space in the first place? What kind of cost savings is that to someone who's building
If you
this?
prolong lifetime? Mm-hmm. Okay, so this probably would depend what kind of experiment you will carry, but roughly it could be 100 to 200,000, the cost of one satellite.
To put one
like
into
that.
space?
Yeah.
To build it? And
right, so now if you prolong life by order of magnitude, so you save something like close to $1 million.
And
while you're on that, how much is the cost that you expect for the customer to ultimately pay for each unit? And then if you're addressing a potentially $2 billion market, if you achieved 100% success of having your units on those satellites, what's the total revenue dollars that you would receive out of that?
Okay, so we are ramping up, with our production. You saw the order that we have for about 1,000 of this propulsion solution from just one company, just one player on the market. So, approximate price for one propulsion solution would be, it would vary from, say, 15K to 60K, depending on how many thruster heads we have. So if you have just a single thruster head, so we probably, in our, financial estimation, we, assuming that we're talking about 15K price per unit. So if we, increase our production and we introduce other systems that in pipeline in my lab, currently more advanced type of thrusters, so cost will be higher, but of course it will go to ultimately more advanced customers.
You're talking about growth and really kind of the types of opportunities that are out there are really significant, but your staff costs are flat in 16 and 17. Does that need to be reconciled, or do you have something in mind in terms of your capacity is sufficient, even though you anticipate significant interest and uptick in what you're doing?
Well, the staffing based on our current prediction for next few years to get to break-even point, but we will readjust our strategy based on how many orders we will be receiving.
Okay.
So just based on our current demand that we have in hands, this is what we see would be sufficient.
Okay.
Thank you guys very much.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Let us grab some.